watching it right now, like yesterday night. So I remember it. And I think it's so funny. And like, it's just so good. The transitions between scenes are really good too. So yeah, I just love that show. Okay, we'll popcorn it to Serby.
Okay, so I've been trying to think about, I haven't watched a lot of movie or TV shows in a while. Which I don't, I'm not, something, things are not popping in my head right now. I guess I can say like, you know what? I think I need some time to think about this. I'm gonna let Nick go. Nick, do you want to go ahead?
Sure. So I think if I had to pick one movie and not like a series, just one movie, my favorite movie all time would have to be The Princess Bride, which is this classic story of true love and duels and giants. It's like a kind of campy, but it's hilarious and very quotable. So, and I watched that movie probably dozens of times as a kid, so it has to be my favorite. How about Part? Did you see the icebreaker question we're discussing? It's what is your favorite movie or TV show?
Part, are you here? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about it.
If you need some time, Jeremiah, would you like to answer?
Yeah, I was just thinking since we have like the Avengers theme, Marvel theme too, definitely like seeing, I mean, it's a two-part basically movie. I mean, you can say the whole thing is one whole TV movie show experience, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I've always been like a big like Marvel fan, like watching those movies when I was really young. So yeah, Endgame was really great to like finish off like the whole kind of saga of the different phases of the MCU. So yeah, but other than that, the first thing I thought of that was La La Land. I really like that movie. I love the music. I just remember watching that for the first time and being like, wait, why am I watching a musical? Like, I don't watch musicals. And then I just watched it. I just fell in love with like musicals after that. So I was like, oh, and La La Land was what started it for me. So I really like La La Land.
I love the music of that movie. That was
really good.
I feel like I have a little more time to think. So I think one movie I really liked, it's an Indian movie, but it's quite popular. It's called Three Idiots. Have any of you heard of it? Yeah? Jeremiah says yes. Oh my God, that's so cool. Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies. I also do engineering, which is like the theme of the movie. And so I really liked that it was about that. Yeah. Really related to it. Parth, did you get a chance to think about that one?
Yeah. One of my favorite movies is like the Home Alone series, just because like how he's like alone, and then he thinks about like all the like how to counteract all of their plans. Like I know like some of they're all staged, but like in like a real situation, like you wouldn't think of those, and then like how it just like ties together in the end, and then like the mom comes back and like they're all very similar plots, but then just like different pranks.
That's cool. I haven't watched that. Sounds interesting. If we have someone new with us. Hi, Jaya. Hi. So our question today, our icebreaker today, before we go into our conversation, is what is your favorite movie or TV show? Do you have a favorite one? Chat. You can't hear us? Is anyone else having that issue?
No, I can hear fine.
I can hear you.
Okay, so let me put in the chat for Jaya. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Okay.
She can hear now.
Great. I'm glad to hear that. So welcome to Spiritual Youth Circle. I'm really glad to see a new face. It's really nice to see you. So the question is, what is your favorite movie or TV show? Yeah, it's a loaded question.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, perfect.
My favorite movie is probably like Ant-Man.
That sounds really cool.
That one's great. It's hilarious.
Yeah, Paul Rudd is amazing.
Yeah.
He's just funny personality.
Mhm.
So like,
How about Niharika? Did you hear the question? The
Yeah,
icebreaker?
I did. I'm gonna go with favorite TV show, and I would say mine is Gilmore Girls. If you ever heard of it, it's really cute.
wow. We have a wide variety of fans from all different places today. So I'm excited to see where this goes. Who else we have? We have Geeta Priya.
Sorry, I'm so sorry I'm late.
No,
But
thank you
okay,
for-
so is the question what's my favorite movie or TV show?
yeah.
Oh, okay. My favorite movie is probably Ratatouille. It's just it's a really good movie. Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. So I mean, yeah, I always like watch like clips of Ratatouille and I really liked it. So yeah, I'm glad that we have a lot of people joining. We also have Avantika's joining us too, so that's nice. Nick, would you like to go ahead and go to our first point? What
Sure.
do you think?
Just so I hope you've all seen Avengers because there are spoilers ahead. So
Oh yeah,
spoiler alert.
we should have said that before. I mean, like usually you all should have known that.
Yeah.
Did you
So
even get
this
like
is a spoiler heavy discussion. At least for the first movie. Just the
Yeah.
first Avengers movie, not the whole series, like leading up to Endgame and so on. I'm sorry.
You haven't
we
watched
won't totally spoil the ending, but we're gonna talk about some themes that are present throughout it, and you may pick up some spoilers along the way. So, like, we're not gonna give you a synopsis. But don't worry. But we are gonna discuss the to begin kind of the object in the movie that sets off the conflict. There's this thing called the Tesseract, which is considered to be the most valuable object in the world because it's this source of infinite energy and everybody wants it, including the villain of the movie, who you see here, Loki, who's the Norse god of mischief. And I bring this up because we're talking about negative emotions that are present in the Avengers. And the first thing we wanted to talk about is ego and desire. And when there's a thing like this Tesseract that everyone wants, people end up fighting over it, especially people who think they deserve it, that they're entitled to it. Someone like Loki, where he went and stole it from its rightful place just so he could have it for his own personal kind of shady reasons. And it comes from a place of a scarcity mindset where he's worried that he might not have enough and he needs more and more and more. And it makes me think about kind of the energy, like climate crisis that we're in real life, where there's this desire for more and more and more, and it leads to a lot of waste. But going from there, wanted to show a clip of Loki and how his almost endless desire for this object leads to him saying some pretty choice words that reveal his disposition.
All right, so I'm gonna show this clip. Please put in the chat if you can hear well, if you can hear it well. So this is right in the very beginning where Loki, he returns to Earth and he is going to steal the Tesseract. So yeah.
Please don't. I still need that.
This doesn't have to get any messier.
Of course it does. I've come too far for anything else. I am Loki of Asgard, and I am burdened with glorious purpose.
Loki, brother of Thor. We have no quarrel with your people.
An ant has no quarrel with a boot.
You planning to step on us?
I come with glad tidings of a world made free.
Free from what?
Freedom. Freedom is life's great lie. Once you accept that in your heart, you will know peace.
Yeah, you say peace.
Right, so that's just a small clip. And I really like this clip. Can I see any reactions how you guys like that clip? Yeah, I really like this clip because number one, villains are so poetic. Like, just Loki is just like he's like about to like steal like the most valuable object in the universe, and he's just like, I come with glad tidings, and he's so poetic and whatnot. But I like what he said, and it really like sums up his like attitude towards other people. He says, I am Loki of Asgard, burdened with glorious purpose. And it made me think, you know, he's someone with like so much like ego, or so much desire and greed, that and he says, I am burdened with glorious purpose. And I found that word choice, and he says this like multiple times, and maybe Jeremiah knows. He says this like multiple times, like not through the film, but like in the series and things like that. I am burdened with glorious purpose. So he's your favorite villain? Oh my God. Yeah, I think he's pretty cool. Yeah. And he says, I'm burdened with glorious purpose. And I was just thinking, you know, that's a very interesting choice of words to use, that you're burdened with glorious purpose. And, you know, purpose is something that's like putting you down. So I wanted to ask you guys, it's a little bit of a literature style discussion, I guess, but what do you guys think about this word choice? That someone is saying that they're burdened by their purpose, that they're burdened by some kind of desire, a mission. Is purpose supposed to burden us? Is purpose supposed to elevate us? What exactly is purpose supposed to do for us? Anyone want to take a shot at that?
I feel like purpose should be the opposite of burdening, and like it should be freeing and like let you go where you want to go instead of like tying you down.
That's something I was thinking, that like, you know, if Loki was like feeling like he was free to do what he wanted, would he use that choice like burden, that he's burdened by it? And it will, I think in the later scenes that we show, like we'll see why he feels like he's burdened by this, right? Okay, so I see Jeremiah and Jaya, who are like our Marvel fans here, are like, yes, I know where this is going. I would like to hear from them. Do you guys have any thoughts on what this word choice is? Yeah, Jaya, go ahead.
I feel like for Loki, since like he doesn't fit in the family because he's like a ice frost, whatever. But I feel like he doesn't really fit in the family, so he kind of feels like burdened with like he's like in a like perfect family, but he's like burdened with his purpose. So he's like, I don't know, yeah.
Yeah, like he feels ostracized, right? Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah, that's really interesting that you're saying he's confusing what he's actually burdened about. Like he's saying he's burdened with glorious purpose to sound cool, but deep down, he's burdened by his like shame and guilt.
Yeah, and like maybe this is a little more of a spoiler, but we're gonna spoil it anyway as we go on. But like he's like ostracized by his like family, so he's like burdened by his trauma, really, not really by purpose. What do you guys think, Jeremiah? Oh yeah, go ahead. Should we keep the
Oh no! You can go ahead. Sorry.
I was just thinking, I wanted to hear what Jeremiah is gonna say, because he did say like he's a big Marvel super fan, so I'm excited to hear.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of mentioned there in the clip too. I would say is that he's also like the brother of Thor, and Thor is this like really like powerful figure, and he's always in that shadow of Thor, and so he wants that power as well, because out of envy of Thor, and it's a really like kind of heartbreaking part, like character of him who's like chasing after like power and power from being like from all that negative emotion that he's like had throughout his whole life, being like the outcast in his family, the adopted son, being like in the shadow of his more kind of powerful Thor older brother. And so yeah, definitely
100%.
yeah,
Gita Priya?
Oh, also, it's just I don't know if any of you have watched Loki, like the actual like thing on Disney Plus, because it's really good. But actually I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but basically I think Loki is also like guilty that he basically thinks he also tore his family apart in a way, and he's also really guilty because of that. And I think just like his like conquest to like conquer all humans is kind of just like a distraction or just like a way to cope. I don't know, but he's just trying to like he just feels really bad about everything he's basically done. And yeah.
So he's like coping with his trauma by like, oh my God. I can like, I mean, I'm not sure if like you guys can relate, but like I kind of relate to that. Like if I'm feeling like a very negative emotion, like sad, or even like a difficult emotion like jealousy, like say like my friend gets into a program that I didn't get into, like what I will do to distract myself from that very negative, uncomfortable emotion is like crazy. I could probably go ahead and conquer the world if I had like two horns and was like powerful like Loki, but I can't. But yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I was thinking further how he talks like about his philosophical view where he's like, well, actually, free will doesn't exist, and the more you realize that, the better it is for you.
Whoa.
And I think that might be just something he's telling himself to come to terms with the fact that things didn't go the way he wanted. So he's like, if things didn't go the way I wanted, then actually I'm not in control at all. And my will has no impact on the outcome. So I just need to do like, I don't know, like play the bigger game rather than just think I'm free or think that anyone's free. That it's just this like power hierarchy and that's all that's going on.
Yeah. Anyone else? I guess there's one more thing. Another philosophical point that he makes, an ant has no quarrel with a boot. And I thought that was really crazy, like for someone to say. Did you all catch that? An ant has no quarrel with a boot. What do you all think that means when he says that? He tells that to Fury.
I mean, yeah, as a god himself, or yeah, he kind of just basically sees like Earth and these like tiny humans. It's like, oh, you're just like ants, and so I can just take over here and like rule, and yeah, like that is his coping like mechanism basically. Like he turns to like something lower and like puts them down under, so he feels higher, but he's not actually higher because he's still the same person, and he just feels better that way, like thinking that other people are lower, like these humans are lower than his god status. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also something he tells himself just so he doesn't feel guilty about like being this supervillain. It's like, oh well, if all these human beings are as insignificant as ants, then one, I have no reason to feel bad about it. Two, they shouldn't even feel bad about it because that's like the natural order of things.
And like, I just think that even like the way he was saying like an ant has no, again, like that what you mentioned about him being like in higher status than these puny little humans. I was thinking, even like in our like day-to-day life, like people who like are like incredibly like confident or like very like extravagant in like the way they act. Like what I'm thinking of, like fictional characters, like who are incredibly like have like a lot of ego in them. They're honestly kind of glorified by like modern cinema. Like Loki, for example. Like why do we like Loki so much? Because he's like confident. He has like this swagger with him. He has something to him. And so I was thinking, what about like ego is like why do you have any examples in your mind of like how modern cinema can glorify these egotistical people or people with a lot of trauma also?
Maleficent, for example. The movie Maleficent's also really good, but basically in Maleficent, they really like modern day cinema, they kind of like give us reasons why we should support the villain. Like Maleficent, there was this whole like, her whole kind is dying and like she didn't mean to do this, she didn't mean to do that. But in reality, she's just like, she did mean to do this and she did mean to do that. Or Cruella, yeah, that too. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's like talking about, yeah, 100%. And it's like it's kind of like nice to like see like the villain side of the story, but like when someone isn't like dealing with their like hurt and as Thor uses this word, you'll see imagined slights, then we get these villains who are incredibly like do incredible hurt to the world. Yeah. Yeah, Jaya, what's that?
I feel like the villains with egos, they always have like something behind their egos too. They always have like a sad past or something that gets like the watchers like to like them.
Like if Maleficent didn't have like this like sad past, like I remember like I don't remember actually, but like this incredibly sad past where she's wrong, then would we really like want to watch that movie if she didn't have like a sad past? Yeah. And it's like unhealed trauma. Yeah. And we see like how crazy that unhealed trauma, what it does to them. So I guess it all starts with how we deal with our past.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I know I have an ego, and I know the symptoms that at least it causes. I don't think I'm processed enough to know like what things have happened to me that have created it. But it really is nicer to see like a three-dimensional villain character where it's like, oh, okay, that's why they're like that. Like it's not like it justifies what they're doing, but at least it like makes narrative sense.
100%.
And makes them kind of relatable. I might think like, oh, if that happened to me, maybe I would do that.
Maybe. Oh my God. Maybe. That's a crazy thought to think. Yeah. I think maybe we can go on to our next clip. Is that okay with you, Nick? Is that okay with everyone? Okay, so now we're gonna look at exactly what Jeremiah and Jaya have been hinting at the entire time. The relationship between Thor and Loki. Please let me know if you can hear. Wow.
Where is the Tesseract?
I missed you too.
Do I look to be in a gaming mood?
Oh, you should thank me. With the Bifrost gone, how much dark energy did the All-Father have to muster to conjure you here? Your precious Earth.
I thought you dead.
Did you mourn?
We all did. Our father.
Your father. He did tell you my true parentage, did he not?
We were raised together. We played together. We fought together. Do you remember none of that?
I remember a shadow. Living in the shade of your greatness. I remember you tossing me into an abyss. I who was and should be king.
So you take the world I love as recompense for your imagined slights? No. The Earth is under my protection, Loki.
And you're doing a marvelous job with that.
I think that scene already has enough for us to just like talk and talk. And that, I just like that's one scene where like Loki, his like eyes are like brimming with tears. You can see he's like glassy eyes. I was like, oh my god, he has trauma behind him. He has like things that he hasn't dealt with. It's so beautiful. I totally agree that he's a pretty cool villain. Nick, do you want to start us off with what your thoughts are on this?
Yeah. So now we're kind of transitioning from ego into jealousy. And for sure, Thor's and Loki's relationship really paints that picture. You know, we got the big brother Thor, who seems like the favorite of the family, and Loki, who definitely seems more like the black sheep. And I think what this shows is how something can start off relatively small. You know, like Thor said, like imagined slights, like really just in the mind of Loki as like a child, but then develop into like full on craziness. It's just a little bit of jealousy that can turn into full on insanity in the future. And I think the lesson I take away from this is that dealing with childhood trauma is super important, because these things that happen to us as little kids, when we don't really know what's going on, we're not really responsible for what's happening, but we still have these memories and they kind of shape how we think as we grow up. They make a huge difference. And understanding that, processing that, then you can deal with things in a healthy way instead of this super poisonous way like Loki is. And it really is that envy that he had that just stewed in his mind. It got the soup got thicker and more black and disastrous, and it turned him into a supervillain. And I can definitely think at times when I've been the bad guy, maybe not a supervillain, but I wasn't like the best person I could have been, just because of like avoiding problems or not wanting to like take responsibility. I don't want to put anyone on the spot about like situations where they might have felt the same.
Everyone, please tell us about your childhood traumas.
Yeah, your childhood traumas and all the times that you failed to be a good person. No.
I feel like that's why it's like easier to like talk about like Loki and him, because he's like a character outside and we're just like talking about him. Like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, for sure. That's why it's useful to have fictional characters. Wait, Jaya, are you gonna say something? I saw you raising your hand.
No childhood traumas. I'm not going to talk about like
no, for sure.
Story.
For
no,
sure.
But like how Loki kind of feels like in a shadow. I feel like it's a little bit similar to like if you have an older sibling and they went to the same school as you're going to, and then they're like, oh, you're Rye's son, blah, blah. Like that's my brother's name. But I feel like it just like they just think of you as like the sibling, and it's like you're living in that little shadow. But it's not like exactly the same because Thor's like so famous. But yeah.
No, I'm an only child, but I totally like I've heard so many stories from like my friends who have like siblings of like everyone just thinks I'm like this guy's brother. Like even like in the first scene, if you guys remember, like the doctor is like, Loki, Thor's brother, and he's just like, oh my god, not this again. He's just like it's like this like, oh my god. Yeah, I totally agree.
I also definitely agree with that. I'm also an only child, so I won't be able to relate to like that sibling situation. But another thing Loki was doing that I noticed was bottling up all his emotions from childhood. And like he bottled up all that jealousy and all of that like hatred towards Thor, and then he let it out in not the best way. And I learned this the hard way, that bottling up your emotions isn't the right thing to do, because I end up being angry at somebody and then I take my anger out on somebody who was literally trying to help. And I think that's why and so Loki had bottled up like years and years and years of his jealousy and anger and like his just emotions, and he let it out in not the nicest way. So I think Loki should have gotten some like therapy when he was younger, or just some emotional release valve or something like that to help with that.
That's so funny because I remember like mentioning this to like Nick, like, oh, and he should have just gone to therapy. We should have just like none of this would have happened if he just went to therapy. Yeah.
Well, spoiler alert, he does do therapy. Not
Really?
therapy, but not therapy, but basically therapy. And that's why there's all these TV shows. All the TV shows are therapy.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, Loki does. Yeah, Loki does go to.
WandaVision.
Yeah.
WandaVision is therapy. Falcon and the Winter Soldier goes therapy, actually therapy. Loki
No
does
way.
therapy. All the superhero needs therapy in the
Loki's
Disney
therapy.
TV show.
Yeah. Loki's therapy is a little guilt tripping therapy, but it's therapy in a way.
Also, I wanted to add something onto Gitapriya's point. So like, Loki was like bottling up his emotions, and then like, he knew that Thor had like a deep connection to planet Earth. So then instead of finding it out with Thor or his family, he just took it out on something that Thor loved.
That's a really powerful.
Like maybe he doesn't even yeah, maybe he doesn't even like the Earth, but he just like, I don't know. I only watched the first movie because Nick was like, we need to do a class on this. So but like yeah, I was like, yeah, maybe he doesn't even like the Earth. And he's just doing it just to like get on like Thor's nerves. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we're talking about like our childhoods and like patterns, right? It's like the equivalent of him like stealing his big brother's toy so that he can't play with it. It's just him doing that at like this like godlike level, but it's the same pattern.
That's a really good analogy. Yeah.
I remember when I was younger, I stole my cousin's paper airplane. It was just something small, but he was so sad and he acted so sad, and I was like, oh my god, did I do something wrong? And I remember giving it back. It's just like I don't remember if it was like from like jealousy or anything, but I have definitely felt jealousy. I mean, I feel jealousy all the time towards like other people, but like yeah, just like wanting to destroy someone. No, that's a very strong feeling. It's also like an uncomfortable feeling too. Like I remember, oh man, I remember once, and I was telling this like when my friend got into like a program that I really wanted to get into and I didn't get in. I remember she was telling me about this, and I had met her, and she was telling me I got in, and I was like, wow, you got in. That's so nice. Like you must be super excited. And like I was trying so hard to like mask this like intense, negative, very uncomfortable feeling that I felt. And I felt like I was failing. In the end, I think what really helped, it was uncomfortable, but like telling this person, like, I feel this jealousy towards you. I feel like, I feel like I wish I had this thing that you have. That really just like, it popped my bubble of jealousy just like at one go. And I think that helped me. But man, it's such an intense and uncomfortable feeling. So I think that, if it festers to something that like what Loki has, then yeah, it shows that, yeah, it went through some crazy stuff. Anyone else?
Yeah, just kind of to add on to your point, jealousy is definitely one of those feelings. Like, it's something that it makes you feel like angry and sad, and at the same time, I don't even know how to explain it. You just feel like horrible. And then you're so angry at this person for absolutely nothing, which is the scariest part. Because like you're so tempted to just be like, you know what, like I'm better than you. Okay, I did all of this and you just got into one thing, I can do much more. But like at the same, but you're so tempted to do that, but in reality they just got into this like program or whatever because of their hard work, and they did work, and you also have done work, but they did more or something like that, so they got in. And so yeah, jealousy is just a very scary feeling for me.
Yeah. Yeah. How what do you think is like a good way to deal with jealousy? What do you think is a good way to deal with this tough emotion?
I don't know if this is like the best way, but when I was younger, I had someone in like my close bubble who was like older than me, and I felt like she was better than me in every way. And then she had everything that I wanted and everything that I couldn't really have, just like how the circumstances aligned. But as I got older, I kind of just like this bubble or like this like bubble of thinking that she had everything that I didn't have went on for like quite a while. It was like a phase of me idolizing her. But as I got older, like I said, I kind of just like remember to realize that what I had in my first place, and like I should be grateful for what I have and recognize that, you know, some things are just cut out for some people and I have a different like path, and that helped me get over it.
Wow, that's really nice. That's really beautiful. Like you have your own path and you don't need to like you're on parallel lines, like you're not gonna like hit each other. It's really nice. I was also thinking, you know, this idea that he was being ostracized from his family. He was a black sheep, and that led him to do this crazy thing. Oh, yeah. Yeah, before we go on, Jaya, did you want to add to it before
Yeah, just like don't take out like your anger on like the earth, like like he doesn't even like have any like thing to do with the earth, I feel like Loki, and then he's just taking his anger out on it. And I feel like something that can like help people get through jealousy is like if you talk to like your close people, kind of like Niharika said, like, or wait, no, never mind. But like you can just talk to like close people. Like I have a really good friend that I like talk to like a lot of things about, like, oh yeah, like this person is having like a great summer or something. And then like if you talk about it, it kind of like gets it out of your system, I guess. And like talk about like what you're jealous about and how to like get over it. It's kind of like a way of therapy, but you're not with like a room with like
another
like a person you don't really know. So yeah,
that's really nice. I'm glad that you have like wonderful friends like that you can talk to, and I'm sure you're a wonderful friend to talk to. That's really cool. Nick, you wanted
That's
to
great. Yeah, I wanted to say something about how Jaya was saying that that's kind of like therapy, but you're not with a therapist. I know someone who is a professional therapist, like at a pretty high level, and she said that if people knew how to be vulnerable with those that are like close to them in their lives, like with their friends and family, if they knew how to just open up in an honest way, she would be out of a job. Like there'd be no reason to have professional therapists if people actually knew how to be vulnerable and like open themselves up to others and like talk about their flaws and like work it out. So
Wow.
it really is therapy. Like you don't have to be with a therapist to experience something therapeutic.
Definitely. I think therapists, I just think they're just, I mean, I kind of wanted to become a therapist, but then I'm horrible at listening, so I was just like, never mind, not gonna become a therapist. But just I think a therapist in general, they're just there to make you feel like they understand. They're just there to listen and let you rant. And I think that's something that you don't have to pay like $200 an hour for. You can like just like talk to your friends or like just someone who you trust and just like rant to them. And I know for a fact that has definitely helped. Like, and especially if that friend like lets you see others like other sides of things. Like just this morning, I was like really angry for no reason. And so I like called my friend and I was like, hi, I'm mad at because of this and this and this. And then she's like, yeah, I get where you're coming from, but I also get where she's coming from. So you should probably, and I realized that, yeah, it's probably my fault. So then I messaged the said friend and I was like, I'm sorry, that was dumb of me. So yeah, I think, yeah, definitely talking is important.
So Jay has said in the chat, you can even talk to your dog or cat. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, given that you don't have like crazy fear of dogs and cats, you should. That'd be so sweet. Like me. Yeah.
And talking to dogs or cats or like journaling, like where you're not really expecting much feedback,
Oh my
but you
God.
just want to get it out. I think that's really useful too. although it's a little different. Like when you talk to a therapist, they're not really allowed to give you so much feedback. They kind of just like a repository, and they make you feel safe and like to be vulnerable. But I think one thing that's missing from the therapy experience is it's different than talking to like an elder or a mentor, where they can actually give you constructive feedback and help you, like guide you how to grow. That's like super valuable.
I feel like there's like different like jealousy. You should talk and like to people that you like trust and like get feedback from, and like how you should like deal with it. But there's like some things that like you don't want to tell anyone or like anyone to know, and like you just need to get it out. Oh yeah, you can go.
Well, I'm just saying, yeah, I totally relate with the not wanting to tell people about something.
Yeah, and it's like good to just like tell your cat, because your cat can't talk. Or like journal is good too, and just like tell your pet, because they're all like those things. But I feel like for jealousy and like different like types of anger, you should like talk to like people that you trust and like get feedback from them.
I'm seeing so much like wonderful like communication from the chat as well. This like anger and jealousy coming from like this is like universal experiences that we all have, and I'm so glad we're all getting to talk about this. Anushree says, yeah, one time I talked to like a 1-year-old. Oh man, that sounds I'm not sure if they would like judge you. And also like in my experience, 1-year-olds, they give pretty good advice. Like they give like solid advice. Like, have you ever seen like those like 1-year-olds like giving advice to their mom? Like, don't worry, like you're loved. And it's like, oh wow, why are you so wise? Gita Priya says, wait, yeah, jealousy is like one of those things you really need feedback for, because half the time it's irrational. Yeah, I think everyone's agreeing, 100%. Yeah. I think that this is a really wonderful segue, unless anyone has any more things to talk about, into our last point, into our last emotion that we were exploring. So we found ego, jealousy. Can anyone guess what our last one is? I'm wearing green. And not pride. I'm wearing green, if that helps. Green.
Think Marvel.
Not greed. Okay, so it was mentioned by some of you before. So ego, jealousy, and one of the main superheroes in the Avengers. We're gonna talk about anger. So do you guys know who the supervillain, that superhero that we're gonna talk about is? That we're gonna see the next clip on?
The Hulk.
Oh my God! How many people love the Hulk? Oh my God, me. He's my favorite. He's my favorite. Like I made the Instagram post and I tagged myself as the Hulk. I didn't let anyone else know the Hulk. That's like, oh my God, he's the most cool. And I relate to him a lot because I have some mad anger issues. Full disclosure. So we're gonna watch a small clip on the Hulk's transformation. So just to give a little bit of information about who the Hulk is. So the Hulk is actually this like doctor. He's this like normal, like very sweet, peaceful doctor, Dr. Banner. And when he gets just like instigated, just like at an instant, he turns into this giant monster, and he like just wreaks havoc. And I want you guys to watch this clip, and we'll talk a little bit about his transformation. So he's just a normal guy. One second, can you all hear the sound?
Yeah, we can.
All right. So there's so much to take from this one scene. And I was just like, this scene is like so cool because it has so much going on. So we have this like innocent Dr. Banner, and he transforms almost immediately into this giant green monster. And I was just reflecting on this because I was just thinking about this while I was watching the movie. But like anger really so I read this before, but like anger is one letter away from danger. When anger and danger. So as soon as he feels this little bit of anger, Dr. Banner, he turns into this crazy monster. And yeah, it is pretty cool. And I was just thinking, like, I've had that experience. Like, I've been the angry, mean person. I'm not really like a Loki type of person who like keeps the anger inside and like stealthily like a rock like gains power. I'm not like that at all. I'm like fire. I'm like the Hulk. Like as soon as something wrong happens, like my mom and dad know, like it's really bad. Slamming doors, shouting, screaming. It's really not a good sight. And I was like, I really relate to this Hulk character as much as I don't want to. I really do. And one thing in this scene, like the woman Black Widow is trying to help him out, and he like immediately, as soon as he turns into this monster, he like turns on her. He he becomes so mad at her. He doesn't even realize that she's like trying to help, and he like runs after, almost trying to kill her. So any of you had this experience that anger is like totally consuming? Do you guys feel more of a Loki type of anger person or a Hulk type of anger person? Maybe you can go to a poll. Loki, anyone Loki? Loki type anger person? You keep it in and it just like builds, kind of Loki. And how about Hulk? Is anyone like a Hulk type anger person? Hulk here. Just immediately, boom, boom, you're done. But like, I mean, like, I feel like the Loki type anger person is like a little more like constructive with their, I mean, like they're still like destructive at the end, but it's like a constructive kind of anger. Like kind of like the silent treatment. Like, I'm going to like treat you, darling. Oh, wow. That's really nice. Jaya is bringing some like otherworldly self-awareness to the group. Yeah, I'm not like that, but I'm glad that you all are. Okay, so at the very end, do you guys notice what happens at the very end of that clip?
Oh, Loki smiling, mischievously smiling, and yeah, because it is, yeah, that was part of his plan all along to kind of make them self-sabotage each other, and yeah, that's interesting. Like just for that smile, like oh, no script was needed.
Jeremiah, can you tell like Anushri, I know she didn't watch the Avengers. Can you tell us why Loki smiled at the very end?
Oh, so basically he got captured by the Avengers and they're like, oh, like, haha, we basically defeated a bad guy, but it's like 30 minutes into the movie, it's not over. So basically, and so he's like very, his intellect, very sneaky. And what his plan was to get them to fight each other. And he knew that the Hulk is this like easily like powerful like Avenger, one member of the Avengers, and that could easily turn on them because of his anger issues. And they're like in a helicarrier, like this ship, and so they could easily like, because of his power, like he could easily like take down the whole ship by himself, by just the Hulk.
Just like the anger, just like by that one emotion, like he could tear down a ship. And so what I was thinking was like, when we are angry, we're easily manipulated. When we're angry, then other people can take an advantage of us really easily. Like we think that when I get angry, I think I'm in power. Like I'm slamming doors, I'm getting upset, I'm the one screaming, but actually other people are taking advantage of me. Other people have the remote control of my emotions. Like Loki has the remote control someone else because they're like playing with my emotions. Has anyone else felt this before?
I have never related more to a statement in my life. It was like just because like when I'm angry, I just like everyone who agrees with me and is like, you should really yell at this person or you should like really go off on them. All these people, I'm like, yeah, I should. But if I was like thinking rationally, I'd be like, no, it's long term, it's not good. Okay. But like it's just like when you're angry, everyone who's like saying that like ebbing you on or just like making you like angrier at this particular person, it's like you're listening to them. You're just like, yeah, I should do that. So yeah, I definitely relate.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like it's not worth your time. Like I think like I wish I could say like, oh, like I'm above anger. I'm like what's recently happened to me is just like I when I'm like getting like Jeremiah's laughing, but maybe he relates. But when I'm getting angry at someone, I'm like, do I really have the energy to like get up and like make a mess right now? Do I really have like the energy to like get mad at someone? It's like I don't have energy for that emotion, so I just like let it go and like, it passes by. Does anyone else have any ways to, like they cope with their anger? Because it's a very scary emotion.
Well,
Oh,
oops, sorry.
go ahead, Niharika.
If yours is quicker, go ahead. Mine is kind of on the longer side.
Sure. I'll go really quick. Yeah, I remember a thing my dad told me once because I would have like anger tantrums as a kid. I really liked the Hulk. I saw myself in him, and yeah, I would try to like smash stuff. Like I'd break things. It was a problem. But I remember my dad told me once like someone got me angry, and I was like, oh, well, he made me angry, and I responded, and my dad's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean you won the exchange. You actually lost by getting angry. Like my dad's really into that book, The Art of War. So like that's not like it's like a tactical error to get angry. Like you got to keep your head. And that really stuck with me. Even though I still get angry sometimes, but it's helping.
That's very cool. Wow. I was gonna say that usually my anger or my patience doesn't run out. Like when I'm with like my friends or people like I don't like feel like I'm entitled with, but with my sister, like I feel like I'm kind of like entitled to her or something. I don't know. I'm just like entitled to behave like any way I want, which is really dumb, obviously. But like my patience wears so thin with her. And this happened like recently. And then I had like a mental breakdown. And I was like, why am I being put into the situation of like getting angry with her? Like she's acting this way and that way, and it's like her fault. But I had this conversation with my dad and he made me feel better. And then he was like, just be patient. And like, whenever you're having a problem, just like either call me or just like take a deep breath and increase or just think about increasing your patience, because I think that's the main problem with my anger, because my patience wears very thin.
Also like I like have an older brother and he like sometimes gets me angry, but I feel like my mom tells me like he just wants to start like a fight or whatever. Like people who make you angry like want you to show your anger like most of the time. So if you get angry, you're like really not winning it. Like they're the ones that are like, oh yeah, they got angry. Like if people say mean things to you and then like you get angry, it's showing that like they won. So yeah.
100%. I totally agree with what everyone is saying. And I definitely find it a little therapeutic for myself because, yeah, anger has been a difficult emotion for me specifically. So we talked about ego, jealousy, and anger. Like, this is like my emotion. Like, I am like the demigod of anger. No, I'm just kidding. But it's a very difficult anger for me. Difficult emotion for me. Avantika, do you have anything you'd like to add to the conversation?
Oh yeah, I was just saying that like a lot of time I've observed with my anger, a lot of times it's because like I'm putting an expectation on someone else that was never like supposed to be there. Like for example, if I get mad at like or not mad, like if I get like annoyed with like someone for not doing something that I expected them to do, I like really think about why I'm angry and if that was like something that they understood. Like, for example, if I expected like a friend to text me back immediately after something urgent happened and I'm upset that they didn't, you can really think like, was that an expectation that they were supposed to fulfill? Has that been like actually concerned? So really seeing if like your anger is even valid or if it's for like a reason. And then usually if you realize that it's by an expectation that's not fulfilled, you can often talk it out to the person saying like, hey, I like wish you did this. Like, I know we haven't discussed it before, but like in the future, can we try doing that? Versus getting like angry about something the other person wouldn't even recognize.
100%. Just like we all the time, like I'm expecting myself out of other people. Like how would I react to a certain situation? But that's not really how someone else would react. And like it makes me think, when there's no healthy way to process anger, maybe Jeremiah and Jaya, who are our Marvel super fans, can relate. But there's this part where he says, right before he transforms into Hulk, I don't think I have time to show it. He says, "I'm always angry," and I was like, wow. So he always has this like a little bit of seething like rage underneath him that he's like always trying to control it. And I was like, that's really not like a good way to like be like healthy. That must be exhausting. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like must be exhausting to be that kind of person.
But it's interesting because he is a hero, and what he's doing is using that anger against like the enemies. And so really, if you think about it, like anger becomes like this necessary thing, because if you redirect it, because he did have that control. He's like, oh, you think, yeah, really, you don't see it, but I'm controlling my anger, and I'm angry right now. And yeah, in that scene, and as soon as he says that, I'm always angry, he just transforms immediately. And yeah, and redirecting that emotion, that what you would think is negative emotion, is actually like a positive thing, because they just saved like planet Earth. And so yeah, that's a really good thing.
Such a beautiful thought. So like using anger as like in a healthy way. So like rather than it being this negative emotion. I think we might go a little over time, like 2-3 minutes, but I do want to show one last point because Jeremiah brought an incredible point of like use anger in a healthy or more productive way. So anger is not really anymore this negative, unhealthy emotion, but like a good emotion. So I'm going to show you a small clip where Hulk is.
Enough! You are all of you beneath me. I am a god, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by it. Puny god.
All right. So that was oh my god. Thoughts. Can we get some thoughts on this first? Parth is laughing. Oh my god. Yeah. And this was like the puny god, 100%. It's like this like I will not be like crushed beneath you, and this like, and then he's just like absolutely like smashed by Hulk. And so it made me, so this is like related to like Jeremiah's point that like we can use anger in this healthy, beautiful way that can help us out. So I guess I would like to ask all of you, is there something in the world that like makes you, maybe this is a society thing, maybe this is something you see in your family, is there something that makes you feel angry, and how could you use that anger in a good way? That was our last thing, like using anger, this incredibly powerful, scary emotion in a beautiful, productive way. Has anyone had this experience? I think I can go first if no one has anything.
I have something.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I just think like straightforwardly, the best use for anger is for protection. Like, it's really interesting. I had this experience yesterday. I was driving home after an event, and I saw this girl like running down the street. It was like 11 at night, and she was like running through the street. And I was worried. I was like, oh, is she being like attacked? Like, why is she running? I was with my girlfriend at the time. We were both driving, and like we pulled over and like talked to her. We were like, what's going on? Are you okay? And apparently she works late at night, but like has to walk like 5 or 6 blocks to go back home every night. And she was running because she thought she was getting chased by like a van. And that made me angry. I was like, oh, there are all these creeps out here. Like, it's not safe for like a young girl to go back home. And I was thinking like I even saw this guy riding a bike behind her. And as we were driving by, I was like, if that guy does anything, I'm going to get out of the car and like fight that dude. And I mean, thankfully that didn't have to happen. But that anger that welled up inside me, I think like if it came to that, that would have been an appropriate use of anger.
Nice.
So then we just gave her a ride home.
That's so beautiful. Wow. And like, wow, like anger being used as like a form of protection, like mama bear anger. Like my mom like gets angry at me when I don't like eat my food on, like, oh my God, like rage anger. Jeremiah's laughing. He also has like a crazy mom. Like when I don't like show up for like lunch at time, like 12 o'clock, like you're not there. Rage. Absolutely. But it's to keep me safe. It's to make me healthy. Or like when I'm outside with my friends too late. I'm sure everyone's had like a curfew story or something like that. Like they want to keep us safe. And so in some of the, I guess we should talk a little bit more about this. Does anyone else have any like examples of using anger in a productive way? Maybe there's something in society that you want to change using anger.
I feel like it's really weird, and it's just like a me thing. But when I'm like angry, I don't know, sometimes I just like work. I don't know how to explain it. I just like if I have something to do, I'll just do that. If I need to clean my room, I'll do that. If I need to wash dishes, I'll do that. It's really therapeutic. I don't know. And it also just gives me time to think over why I'm angry, and if it's like, should I still be angry after like all of this, or do I want to like just like let it go? I think, yeah.
I agree with Sophia, and like when I'm angry or sad, I just like clean my room. It is like in a way therapeutic. I just like, I don't know, kind of like, I don't know. It's just, yeah, I agree with you.
Thank you for sharing, guys. Yeah, these are really nice ways. Like you're back in your body rather than in this scary place, like in your head or your heart, like back in your body. Yeah. So I think I want to share one thing. When I was in high school, maybe you guys will remember this. It's kind of recent, but like the Parkland shooting happened, and I remember it being such a big thing to me personally because first of all, the kids at the Parkland shooting were like incredibly good at like protesting and things like that. So it was very active. So I felt this incredible rage towards like the system and like things like that. And I was just incredibly mad. And I wanted to use this anger and this anger. And I mean, I didn't want to, I didn't have this specific thought, but I had this thought. And it made me like want to do something about it. And I felt like this was the first time I was using my anger like in a productive way. So if anyone else has any stories, otherwise I do want to share one last thing. Go ahead.
I was just saying that I was kind of angry at like the world, or like how the world was going with like climate change, and I still am. And in 7th grade, this was kind of quite a while ago, I submitted an entry for like the National Geographic Tackling Plastics Challenge, and like we heard back from them, and it was really cool. So that's one thing I did with my anger.
That's incredible. Wow. Isn't that like beautiful, like how we can use this like scary emotion in like a productive and beautiful way? So one last thing I wanted to bring up was that this like idea of using our anger in a good way, it's not just like a thing that we talk about, like that Jeremiah brought up. Like it's something that's been like we've seen like even like ancient traditions like talk about using this anger in like this beautiful way to like protect each other, like this mama bear. And so there's this one story, I won't go into too much detail, from like the ancient Indian tradition about this form of divinity coming down in this very scary form to protect this little boy. And he rips apart this like aggressor, just like how in Nick's story, he rips apart this like really like crazy man who's aggressing, like child abusing this little boy, and who's this beautiful innocent boy. And there's so many stories and songs and prayers depicting how like this anger of divinity is used in a beautiful way. So I just found it so beautiful that even modern cinema has this like incredible like connection with has this like same idea that we can use anger, this scary emotion, in a very beautiful way. So this form's name, they say it's a lion. This form is called Narsimha, which means half man, half lion. And he's kind of like the Hulk. He like just like rips apart everything that's trying to get in the way. And so he's using his anger in a beautiful way. So I just wanted to share that this is not just like a, psychology or things shared experience that we have. It's something that we see throughout like ancient scriptures too. So I thought that was really cool. So wanted to share that. If anyone has any last things to say, otherwise I think it's a good time to close if we've gone a little over time. Is that okay? All right, Nick, do you want to do some closing statements for us?
Yeah, so I think we talked about some negative emotions that came up in the Avengers. We talked about ego, we talked about jealousy, we talked about anger. And with anger, we explored how it could be used in a positive sense. I think one thing to meditate on after we close is there some positive use for those other things? Why do we actually experience those emotions? And can you think of how to make the best use of any emotional experience you have, even if you might think of it as negative? Where's the silver lining? It's just something to think about.
So next week, we are going to have a special talk on inner fulfillment led by our high school team. So we're incredibly excited for that. Thank you all for joining. We're really excited to have talked about something fun and cool like this. If you have any comments you'd like to make, please direct them to hi@spiritualyouthcircle.com. And yeah, tell all your friends, and hopefully we can make this a better experience for all of you. It was really nice meeting all of you. Have a great day.
Hey, thank you.
Bye.
This was really fun.
Thank you.
Bye, Jaya.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Geeta Priya.
Bye.